On May 10, 2026, inside a packed Chennai stadium, a debutante politician took the oath of office. In a matter of minutes, the 59-year unbroken political duopoly over a state of 80 million people was broken. For nearly 6 decades, the DMK and AIADMK held control of Tamil Nadu. These two parties maintained their position through vast patronage networks, deeply rooted ideological history, and thousands of career politicians. The man who disrupted that machine is C. Joseph Vijay, known to fans as Thalapathy. He is Tamil cinema's biggest contemporary star, arriving at the governor's swearing-in ceremony with a net worth of $74 million and exactly 0 days of public office experience. Observers often compare actors entering Tamil politics to M.G. Ramachandran, but MGR spent decades inside the DMK, building his political credentials before forming his own party. Vijay went from formally launching his party to sitting in the chief minister's chair in exactly 27 months. He bypassed the traditional apprenticeship. A complete outsider took control of a massive political infrastructure on his very first attempt. Winning an Indian state election requires an enormous, hyper-local logistical footprint. You need people on the ground in every single neighborhood to register voters, distribute materials, and man the polling booths on election day. Looking at this map of Tamil Nadu, you can see how Vijay bypassed decades of grassroots organizing. He took his pre-existing 85,000 cinema fan clubs and converted them wholesale into a disciplined 70,000-strong booth agent cadre almost overnight. With the ground game secured, he deployed an unusual campaign strategy. In a political culture famous for loud rallies and endless speeches, his primary tactic was silence. This chart tracks the final week campaign speaking times of the major candidates. Edapadi Palaniswamy logged 806 minutes. Incumbent M.K. Stalin hit 356 minutes. Vijay spoke for a total of about 35 minutes. He didn't need to outline his platform on the campaign trail because he had spent the last decade doing it on screen. His recent filmography functioned as a multi-year political audition, laying out his stances against corporate agriculture, healthcare privatization, and state corruption to millions of viewers. By letting his cinematic catalog handle the public messaging, his ground-level fan army was free to focus entirely on silent voter mobilization. Meanwhile, the legacy establishment was dealing with a succession problem. The incumbent DMK relied on a dynastic transfer of power to a third generation of leadership, which alienated a block of voters looking for an alternative. Vijay built the Tamalaga Vetri Kalagam, or TVK, to fit that void. He positioned his party against both the DMK and the national BJP. He embraced the region's core social justice principles, but carefully rejected outright atheism to avoid alienating religious voters. The precision of that pitch worked. The youngest voting bloc largely abandoned the old guard. Looking at the post-poll data in this breakdown, the generational divide is stark. 68% of first-time voters, along with 59% of all voters in their 20s, backed TVK. These results translated into 108 of the 234 seats for TVK. While they became the largest single party, they fell 10 seats short of an outright majority. Vijay had to negotiate a coalition with 5 other parties to cross the threshold and form a government. Capturing this specific youth demographic changed the balance of power in a way the state hasn't seen in 60 years. However, the legacy parties remain functional, and Vijay's 108 seats mean he must now govern alongside the very political infrastructure he campaigned against. Vijay used his first hour in power to signal action. Right there on the inauguration stage, he signed executive orders granting 200 units of free domestic electricity and establishing specialized anti-narcotics and women's safety task forces. But this is where the cinematic momentum hits the mathematics of governance. TVK's manifesto is expensive. To fund cash stipends, transit, and insurance, welfare spending must rise 52%, reaching roughly 1 lakh crore rupees. Pulling back reveals a cracking foundation. Tamil Nadu carries over 10 lakh crore rupees in state debt, the highest liability in India. Vijay's lack of administrative experience forced immediate compromises. To navigate this fiscal reality, he handed the finance portfolio to K.A. Sengotayan, a 78-year-old 10-time MLA expelled from the AIADMK. Vijay needed someone with institutional memory. The cabinet is also carrying legal liabilities. The Central Bureau of Investigation is currently and actively probing a 2025 TVK rally stampede in Karur that killed 41 people. Several of Vijay's newly appointed ministers are currently booked for culpable homicide in that case. You can win an election with a cinematic persona and an organized fan base, but keeping a heavily indebted government running requires navigating legal threats, budget deficits, and coalition politics, realities that cannot be fixed in post-production.